Hello friends. One of my goals this year is to buy a lot less books. And I say that not superciliously, not because I feel guilty or because I don't want to buy more books. I do. I love the joy of going to a bookstore and hunting for that gem or that book that's just been on my mind, or finding something that I didn't know that I needed in my life. But I have way too many wonderful, simply must-read books that are sitting behind me on the shelf that I've shown you throughout last year in different book hauls. But now the time is to read them. And it's not that I don't want to read them. I seriously want to read them. It's just the fact that we can buy books much faster, much easier, and much bigger volumes than we can read them usually. So that's one of my goals this year. I'm already not doing the best job. I got in this corner you can see over there a really neat edition of a book that I'll tell you about once I read it. But why I'm failing already so far is not because I visited a bookstore. I've actually abstained from my favorite local bookstores here in Colorado Springs. But one of my friends shopped for me by proxy yesterday at a really big bookstore in Detroit called John K. King Bookstore. Maybe some of you have been there. It looks incredible. And he texted me and was like, hey, I'm going to this bookstore today. He sent me a picture of the map of the bookstore. The fact that they have a map over 4 floors of stores, or 4 floors of the building, it tells you what kind of bookstore it is. And he was like, are there certain names you want me to look for? Of course there are certain names. So I sent him a list of certain Russian names of different Russian literature that I've really struggled to find, because there's some that are very obscure, very rarely published or in print. And lo and behold, he found a few. So by proxy, between the book I bought behind me and then 4 other books that he found for me yesterday, I somehow, without going to a single bookstore, have already bought 5 this year. But we'll put that aside. Why I'm making this video, and what you probably noticed in the title, is I have this massive, I weighed it, 20-pound package from one of you all that has been a supporter of me and the channel for well over a year at this point. And I'm immensely grateful for the support of all of you. And you know, if you send me books, I love you even more. But he messaged me a few weeks ago, mentioned he was clearing out his house. He had some books that I likely would want, and he wanted to send them my way. I'm never going to refuse free books, especially if they're books that I likely want. And if you've watched some of my videos, you know what kind of books I like and my taste. So I figured, let me unbox this bad boy on camera. Let's find out together what's inside. So without further ado, let's rip open this 20-pound package. All right, so I, again, have no clue what's in here. I have not been told what kind of books, how many books, paperbacks, mass market, hardcover, I don't know, but we'll see. I'm always nervous ripping open a package of a book because I'm nervous I'm going to cut into like the cover of the pages. But I imagine they're protected in some way from me mutilating them. Alright, let me show you guys what we're working with. Nice little assortment here. I'm just going to pull them out one by one and we'll see what we got. I'm just going to grab this hardcover first. Oh man. Got first one, let's see if I can show up there. Beautiful folio edition of George Eliot's Middlemarch. So as beautiful as the paperback I have behind me is, that might get returned to the used bookstore because this looks gorgeous. Oh, beautiful little illustration, I suppose, of although doesn't look a thing like Mary Evans herself, so I imagine that's just a character from Middlemarch. You have any of you who have read the book probably know, but oh yeah, beautiful folio edition, 1999. So that's already going to probably be the crown jewel of this, but let's see what else we got. Why not another copy of Don Quixote? He had actually sent me 2 copies of Don Quixote, I want to say like 4 or 5 months ago. He sent me a package generously. So now I just have, again, 1,000,000 copies to compare of Don Quixote, but can't go wrong there. Another book from Henry James. He'd sent me, what is it? The Wings of the Dove. Now I got the Portrait of the Lady. Wings of the Dove, Portrait of a Lady. Henry James is one that I mentioned a few videos back that I want to read his works. He seems like the kind of writer I could get into. I think some of you had recommended his short stories. The Turn of the Screw or Corkscrew, something like that. It's probably on the tip of all of your tongues. All right, we got the first work I've never heard of. Jean Racine. Phèdre, another Penguin classic here. I'm not sure. Looks like it is poetry, and it's actually a bilingual copy, so you have what appears to be the French on one side, English on the other. I have heard of Racine, which I might be absolutely butchering that pronunciation, but I have heard of his work before. I feel like a kid at Christmas. All right, we got another work I've never heard of. Winesburg, Ohio by Sherwood Anderson. No, absolutely zip zero nada about this work or the author. We got, John Milton's Paradise Lost. I do have Paradise Lost behind me. I think it's like one of those Harvard Classics editions, but this will be something I could probably beat up a little bit more, maybe be a little bit easier to kind of hold and read rather than look through a completed like works that I have behind me. Oh, I've been meaning to read this one. I think this is going to be like a must read on my list for next year. I think I'm going to put it into the book club because that's been a joy to read War and Peace together so far. And that is Victor Hugo's Les Miserables. This thing, reading this in a mass market paperback sounds like hell. I mean, how many pages? 1,400 pages in this fat guy. I mean, imagine, they talk about getting like scoliosis from sitting on a wallet. Imagine putting this thing in your pocket and trying to read that. That would be wild. I'm planning too far out, but I think 2026 is the year I really dig into French literature. You guys know that Russian literature I have a predilection for Russian literature right now, and I am just reaching, grabbing, and sprinting at anything that has Slavic origins in it, and I'll likely remain a bit that way. It's going to be probably an essence of my soul as I continue to learn the Russian language. But with that said, I do plan to get to your Victor Hugo's, your Proust's, and other French writers as well into 2026. But mass market there. Another Henry James work, The Ambassadors. Oh, this is a writer a lot of you have gotten on me about, and I never said anything bad about him. I just said that the work didn't work for me originally. That is old Joseph Conrad. This is Lord Jim. I've seen different editions of Lord Jim at my used bookstores, and I've been tempted to give Conrad another go. And if you are familiar with, I read his Heart of Darkness and Secret Sharer. Both stories were fine. They were good, but neither really gripped me or were quite compelling in the way that I expected and that I had heard praise for. They disappointed a little bit, but I'm not giving up on old Conrad. So a nice Penguin copy of Lord Jim. Another edition of Middlemarch. So now I have 3 copies of Middlemarch to go with my 3 copies of Don Quixote. Oh, Gulag, a History. You know what? I've been thinking about getting, I think, this exact book. And I'm sure when he was packing it in here, he knew I would have something to say about this. So I haven't read the Gulag Archipelago, any of the volumes from Solzhenitsyn, although I do have volume 1 behind me. And I also have, I think I'm going to mispronounce it, but I won't try to Russify it, but Lev Kopylev? I think that's right. Lev Kopylev, Ease My Sorrows. He actually has, I think Ease My Sorrows is the 3rd of a trilogy of memoirs from his experience with the Gulag system. But I need to get to those, and when I do, I'll be sure to follow it up with this nonfiction work on the Gulags. And I really like, too, just skimming through it. There's photographs, and I'm a sucker for, not for picture books, but I do like trying to visualize this stuff. And truth be told, the Gulag specifically, they're really hard to get photographs of. And different books, whether it's this or a friend of mine sent me a really intriguing collection of, it's a photography book from the Russian Empire. Seeing those photos that you think everything's on Google, it's not. Whether it's books like this, that Russian photography book, or The House of Government behind me, it's just such a beautiful kind of surprise or add-on when these works have stunning photography or artwork contained within them. That just helps you visualize and picture and try to conceptualize the environments and dystopias that these people lived in. But perfect, loving that one. This is a writer that I've heard come up a lot when I'm studying some Russian history because he was quite influential to a lot of the Bolsheviks and that whole movement that, of course, led to the October Revolution. And that is Heinrich Ibsen. This has 4 of his major plays. Let me see if it has the play that I'm thinking of. I don't think it has the play that I had read about in the House of Government that was influential, or maybe I'm confusing him with somebody else. But I'll have to check out these plays. Now, the person who sent me this, I know he's a sucker for Faulkner, and is probably, I think it's his favorite author, William Faulkner. But reading Faulkner, Sanctuary, a glossary, and commentary. Now, I'm really excited to read Faulkner. Just in about 2 months, I'm going to be reading The Sound and the Fury with the book club that I started this year. So if you want to join in on that, the link will be down in the description, but I'll end the sales pitch there. That's just been a really fun experience. But I plan to read, I have Absalom, I have As I Lay Dying. I plan to read actually in just about a week or two in preparation to just get my taste buds a little bit familiar with Faulkner's prose. And then I'll be reading, like I said, The Sound and the Fury in March. So nice companion piece. Now, I probably should have grabbed this book before that one, but the actual work itself, Sanctuary by William Faulkner. So now I've got like 4 Faulkner works, and I've yet to even read one of them yet. It reminds me of how I have, I think, 3 works of James Joyce behind my shelf. So this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. I have incredible works behind me. I need to read them, and I plan to read them. It's not that I'm trying to just, accumulate a mass library of books and have read none of them. It's just you see something beautiful on the shelf. You see a beautiful copy, a beautiful book. You get all these recommendations from you all, thankfully, on YouTube, and you keep buying, and then you're like, well, damn, I'm buying faster than I'm reading. But enough rambling on that. Another Faulkner work, Sanctuary there. Speaking of Faulkner, we have the Library of America edition here. See if I can get a nice focus there. Another copy of Faulkner novels, 36 through 1940. Let's see if I can say exactly what's in this edition. See, books like this I'm nervous about holding. It has those almost like Bible pages that are like tissue thin. I'm sure there's an exact word for that kind of like just terribly thin paper, but I feel like, one turn of a page, I'm just going to rip something. So it's got Absalom, The Unvanquished, If I Forget Thee, Jerusalem, the Hamlet, and then chronology and text. Some of you might know I love a good New York Review of Books, a nice clean matte spine. And this one is Loving by Henry Green. Heard nothing in the past about Henry Green. No clue who he is. But this is a quite short work, and I love discovering new authors. So excited to look more into this and see what he's all about. Got to keep the Faulkner train going. I told you he's a big fan of Faulkner. We'll see if I am. But Mosquitoes by William Faulkner. Never heard of this book, so it must be one of his lesser-known novels. Doesn't seem terribly long either. Now I am feeling a little bit embarrassed about having multiple books from authors I haven't read yet, but this is just adding to it. Virginia Woolf, Miss Dalloway. I have read some of Virginia Woolf, to be fair. I did read A Room of One's Own. The only book I already have on my shelf that I haven't read yet is To the Lighthouse. So now I got some work to do to read more of Woolf. I did like A Room of One's Own. It had some very insightful components to it, and I could feel her voice and her tone through her writing, but I feel like that work probably stands a little bit separate from her fiction works, so I feel like I wasn't able to give a fair assessment of if I like her prose and style that much. But now I got some work to do, so I'll be reading this and To the Lighthouse at some point in the future. And then the last book is an older paperback copy of the Aeneid of Virgil. So another work I haven't read yet. This one's actually got some annotations in it, so sometimes I like seeing some annotations from previous readers and seeing what they think. So that is it. Let me know in the comments which of these books do you think I should read sooner rather than later. Do any of these catch your eye? Is it, are any of these some of your favorites, either authors or books? Let me know in the comments down below. And I want to express my immense gratitude for sending these books. I don't know how to express it in a way that sounds as honest and genuine as I mean to express it. But really, this, amazing gifts aside, this book community is incredible. It's truly incredible. The messages I get from you all, every comment, the exchange, especially when I see frequent faces, it really feels that the community, as much as it's online and it's digital, it really feels tangible. It really feels like I know you all and you all know me, and we share an interest not only in the same books but in each other's lives and our reading interests and passions and enthusiasm for all this. So I certainly wouldn't be the reader I am today without all of you. So heading into 2025, this is just a perfect reminder for me to say thank you for everything, everything that you do. So again, let me know if any of these books or authors caught your eye. I'm certainly going to have to look at them closer after I wrap this up. But like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe for more content, and I will see you all in the next one.